Hello and welcome to Tes Live Lessons. My name is Hava and today you're going to be doing a lesson at the Royal Mint Museum. You're going to be exploring the world of coins, its history and design. It's going to be awesome. Right, now I'm going to hand over to Amy. Have a great lesson.
My name's Amy and I'm the Education and Learning Manager at the Royal Mint Museum. A mint is a place where coins are made. Minting is an ancient word for making or striking coins. Before we begin, I have a question for you. Do you know where coins are created and why they look the way that they do? If not, don't worry, because in today's lesson, we're going to explore the heritage and history of coinage, looking at their designs, production, and also where they are used across the globe. There have been 5 portraits of Queen Elizabeth II, which featured during her reign. Let's take a look at them now. This design shows Queen Elizabeth as a young woman. It was designed by a lady named Mary Gillick, and rather than wearing a crown, Her Majesty is shown wearing a laurel wreath. The second portrait of Queen Elizabeth was introduced in 1971 because of decimalisation, which is when all our money was changed. It was designed by Arnold Machin, and you can see that he's replaced the wreath with a tiara. But what other changes can you see? How does Her Majesty look different? Let's find out what some students said.
One she looks younger and the other one, she looks older.
The writing around is different compared to it, and her model is brought up a bit, and you can see a bit of her outfit in the other one rather than the one where she's wearing the laurel wreath.
In one, Her Majesty looks a bit younger than the other one, when she just looks a little bit older in.
She looks much older in the bottom picture, if I'm going to be honest.
I think in the top one she's a lot younger.
Thanks for sharing. Let's take a look at the final 3 portraits of the late Queen Elizabeth II that were featured on coins. The third portrait was designed in 1985 by Raphael Macluf. He showed Her Majesty with the royal diadem, a type of tiara, which she wore on her way to and from the state opening of Parliament, and includes a necklace and earrings. The fourth portrait showed her getting older. It was designed by Ian Rank Broadley. By 1998, when it was introduced, most coins had actually got smaller, so the portrait fills up a lot more of the coin's surface. The most recent portrait, designed by Royal Mint engraver Jodie Clark in 2015, showed Queen Elizabeth II with the royal diamond diadem crown, which she wore for her coronation in 1953. He chose this to link his design to the past, as it was featured in the designs by both Raphael Macluf and Arnold Machin. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II means that the portrait of the next reigning monarch, King Charles III, will be featured on coins. Would you like to see the very first coin that was produced to feature the king? Here it is. This portrait of King Charles has been designed by sculptor Martin Jennings. We've had so many questions from students. I'll try to do my best to answer as many as possible.
Who designs the new coins and how do they do it?
It depends. Sometimes the coins are designed by the Royal Mint's own designers and engravers. Sometimes the work will be given to a particular artist, and sometimes we have an open competition where anyone can enter a coin design. For example, the most recent £1 coin was designed by David Pearce, who was only 15 at the time.
Does the king approve the design?
Yes, he does. All coins designed have to be approved by the monarch. The late Queen approved all the designs that were produced throughout her reign, so King Charles will now have that task.
How are old coins taken out of circulation and how are new ones introduced?
When we make a coin, we want it to last a long time. Most coins will be in circulation for around 20 years. We won't be recalling coins with the Queen's portrait. They will just circulate alongside the new coins of King Charles.
Why is King Charles facing the opposite direction to the late Queen?
Queen Elizabeth II faced right on her coins, and as part of a tradition which has lasted for over 300 years, each king or queen faces in the opposite direction to the one before. Her Majesty's father George VI faced left on his coins, so Elizabeth II faced right, and King Charles III faces left. The 20th century is an interesting period because the United Kingdom had 6 different monarchs from 1900 to 1952. Victoria, Edward VII, George V, Edward VIII, George VI and Elizabeth II. So there were a lot of changes for coinage during this time. These older coins are all locked away securely in the Royal Mint Museum, but I'm going to take them out to show you. Here we have some coins that we don't use anymore. We have a 3-penny piece and a farthing which was worth 1/4 of a penny. The designs on these coins also feature images and symbols. Can you spot any?
Take 2 minutes to think what the pictures and symbols on these coins may represent. When you have a good guess, put your hand up and share your ideas with your class.
At the top, there's like numbers, which I think might be when it was like made. What I think it represents is like how much birds there are in England, I would say.
And I see like plants, and maybe that represents growth of the country and like explaining how the country will grow in future generations, maybe.
Those are some great guesses, well done. Now the bird you can see on the farthing is actually a wren, which is the smallest native British bird. And at the time, this was the smallest British coin. And this next coin is a 3-penny piece, which features a small flower known as a thrift plant. Being thrifty means to be careful with your money. So the designer of this coin is telling you to save and look after your money. Now we're going to do an activity. I'd like you to think about the key figures in your life, who you would feature on your own coin. It could be a member of your family or an important figure or role model from modern history or the present. I also want you to think about the patterns, words and symbols that you'd include into your design. Take 3 minutes to work on your planning worksheet to make some notes of whose portrait you'd include on your coin and why. Also list what else your coin would feature and why. Off you go. Excellent work. Now you have a planning document you can use to design your own coin in your own time or in a separate lesson with your class. Let's take a look at what some students said their coin would feature.
I would put a Somali flag on the back as my family's from there, and I would put 5 stars around it because that's how many siblings I have.
With just a portrait of my family, just all sitting down, being happy, and just all of their faces. Like, what's the name of the mountain with like all of the faces in it? Like Mount Rushmore? Yeah, it would probably be like Mount Rushmore, all of our heads just like squashed together.
I would put my dad on the coin because he's experienced a lot of like fun things in his life, and he's had a lot of jobs, and he's just had an interesting life.
If I were to put someone on a coin, I'd put myself because I feel I'm an outgoing person and I try my hardest at everything I do. And I feel people just need to realise and love themselves a little bit more than they do.
Some fantastic ideas there. Thank you for sharing. Now let's find out how we actually make a coin. Nowadays there are lots of different processes, but I'm going to show you the traditional way. We start off, of course, with what's known as a blank. A blank is just the plain metal before the image has been struck onto it. And you might be able to work out that this is going to become a pound coin. So we begin with our artwork, which we make big. And then we produce a 3D model just to see what the surface of the coin will look like. From our plaster model, we'll make a metal version like this. And this goes onto a special machine called a reducing machine. This then shrinks the design down to make our coining dies or our tools. These will be fit inside a striking machine, and all the blanks will fall between them and they'll be hit with a lot of force, strong enough to push the design into the surface of the metal, giving us our finished coin. Did you know that the Royal Mint is the world's leading export mint and has a long history of making coins for other countries? The Royal Mint makes coins for an average of 60 countries every year. Here are some coins from across the world. You'll see that they are all made in different shapes and sizes and can also vary in colour. The designs on these coins are expressions of identity of the countries that they are from. Some countries use their native animals and plants as prominent features on their coins. Let's take a closer look at 4 of these coins. Can you guess which countries they are from? The pictures and inscriptions may give it away. Take 2 minutes to take a look and write down where you think they may be from and why. Off you go. Great work, everyone. Let's find out some of your answers.
I'm gonna say it's an Egyptian coin because it has the pharaoh on it, which represents ancient Egypt. And also I have a couple of those at home because I'm from Egypt and I've been there a couple of times.
I think it's from Australia because one, it's got kangaroos on it, and kangaroos are natively from Australia, and it's also got the dollar on it, which is also Australia currency.
I think Iceland because there's fishes and Iceland is very icy, as it says in the name, and maybe beneath the ice layer there will probably be a bunch of fish, and they're probably famous for so many fishes, and they probably sell fishes on the market and ship it across country.
I can tell it's from New Zealand because it obviously has it written on the coin. And then you can also see that the queen is on the coin.
The first coin was from Egypt, and I'm sure you all recognise that because this is actually an image of a famous Egyptian artefact called Tutankhamun's death mask. But even if you didn't know the name of the thing featured on the coin, you all recognise, I'm sure, that it was something Egyptian. Our next coin is actually from Australia, and this I think is quite easy because it's got kangaroos on the coin, and kangaroos are the national animal of Australia. Next we have a coin from Iceland. This is the one with fish. Now traditionally Iceland's economy was based on the fishing trade, as it's an island surrounded by sea with lots of fish. And the last coin is from New Zealand. Now this coin may look familiar because it actually features a portrait of the late Queen Elizabeth II. This is because she was actually head of state for many countries around the world, including New Zealand. But if you weren't sure about that, and you look closely at the coin, you'll see that New Zealand is actually written next to the portrait. Take a look at all of these coins from around the world. They all feature some clues to help you guess which countries they are from. Take 3 minutes to identify as many countries on your world map as possible. Fantastic. Were you able to use the clues on the coins to figure out which countries they were from? If you need some more time to identify all of the countries on your worksheet, you can continue working on this with your class. Unfortunately, we've run out of time today. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the history of British coin making and how they're designed and made at the Royal Mint. Look out for the new King Charles III coins, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!